Hi, welcome to my kitchen. I'm Nan Simonson. I'm the author of Aging Powerfully, and I always bring that up because this book tells how and why I am so engaged with the College of Lifestyle Medicine and the precepts of lifestyle as medicine, which include a whole food plant-based diet or plant-forward diet or eating as many plants as you can. I'm going on 6 years now, whole food plant-based, and I want to show you a very simple soup from a fabulous cook. And I'm going to give a shout out to Jill Nessenow. She has a master's in science. She's an RDN, which is a registered dietitian. This is Vegan Under Pressure. So let me ask you a question. Do you love an Instapot? You don't have to use the Instapot for this, but it's one of the best tools I've ever discovered because here's the story. I was ready to go. We're going to a birthday party. I had a birthday. I was 73 a couple of weeks ago, and a friend of mine has 10 of us coming over. Only 4 of us are whole food plant-based, and yet the meal is vegan. Isn't that sweet? And I'll be leaving in, an hour or two. Let me get this back on again. And I'm going to a party, a birthday party of my son-in-law tomorrow afternoon. And I was bringing a kale salad with apples and pomegranate. It's raining out, it's cold, it's cloudy. This is Southern California, so cold is in the high 40s, the low 50s, and it's cold outside. And I thought, no, I'm not gonna bring a cold salad with cold, crisp vegetable or fruit in it. I'm going to bring a soup. So last minute, I decided to make a split pea soup. She has a great, well, this is what inspired me. I looked in her book for a soup and I saw this. It's called Spring Split Pea Soup. I'm going to be doing it in a very traditional way. I won't be putting the fresh peas in because I don't have them. I could use frozen peas. We'll see what I do with that. But this is a simple split pea soup, and I'm going to show you what I mean. I pre-chopped, and I'm doubling the recipe. So, and this is my 8-quart Instapot. I'm doubling the recipe, so where she called for 4 cups or 2 cups of onion, I'm putting 4 in, and actually this is a little more than 4, so I'm not going to use it all because I was going to double it and a half. My feeling is if you mess up your kitchen, mess it up worthwhile. And make sure that you have a number of frozen meals afterwards. And so, I'll use a little bit more. I was going to double it in half, and then I worried because when you're doing beans and they foam a little bit, it's sometimes a little bit more difficult to get them when you're releasing pressure not to bubble up through the pressure gauge. So I thought, let it go, man. Just double it. You can live with that. And the same thing with the celery. I already chopped it when I decided, so I'm not going to use all the celery. And I have broken with the recipe, even though I didn't really break with it. She says a couple of tablespoons of olive oil, optional. Well, I don't put oil in my food. I don't cook with oil for a number of reasons, and I talk about that in some of my other videos, and I think they're justified reasons. And so I had the saute feature on, I have it on, which in the Instapot gives you a chance to saute. It's a rather high temperature. And then I'm with that no oil, I'm seeing already how the onions are releasing their, I'm going to call them juices, their fluid, because onions have a lot. That is why they caramelize well. And I wouldn't put garlic in yet if I had garlic to add to it. As a matter of fact, that surprises me. Her recipes are always flavorful, and yet I don't see any garlic in here. Huh, that's fine. But I am going to show you something that she is adding that I think is marvelous, and I'll let that sit for a minute because I need to add the last flavoring agent. This is what makes it a mirepoix: carrot, onion, celery, and sometimes other things. And that is carrot. And again, I chopped more than I needed, so I'll put in, I love to see carrot in a split pea soup. You know what? Let me think. It's not that much. I'm going to use it all. But I want to show you this tool. This is, here is the blade. There's a slicing blade for softer things like mushroom. You wouldn't use it for like carrots because it's not that strong. And then there's a 1/4 inch blade. This one is a 1/2 inch blade. And I want to show you what it does. With all this cutting, I came home with groceries. I didn't even have the carrots as of 35 minutes ago. And not this many. And I thought, man, I have to cut all of this. And then I thought, no. I will use my Vidalia Chop Wizard. And you can get them on Amazon. They're not expensive. I don't think it's more than $25. Here's what I did. I chopped the carrot and I sliced the onion down from its crown to make slices that would then, and the onions were small enough to fit on that grate. You don't want to go over or it kind of clogs up the works. Not a big deal, but it slows you down. And I put, in most cases, 2 of these slices on here. This is the one I have left to show you. That's how fast it is to chop the carrot. And so I put 2 at a time, whack. I've been whacking away. I took this watch off. I took my watch off because at one time I was whacking, and about an hour later I realized the time hadn't changed because I dislodged some of its workings. So take your delicate things off. And it's not that I hit it physically, it was boom, that hard force. Okay, so there's those carrots. I wanted to show you an easy tool for something that would have taken me a lot longer. I think I've talked long enough to let these weep. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Can you see the moisture in there? The onion, see the moisture on the onion? The onion is starting to soften. And you want that when you're sauteing. Is it still on saute? Yes. You want that. And that's why a lot of people surmise or just believe, I'm sorry, that's the dryer. This is all one of those afternoons I told you I've been going from one thing to the other. So some people believe that in order to saute you have to use oil. I don't agree. Anything, your mushrooms, you can do a wonderful mushroom saute with onion or shallot, or use your aromatics, your onions, shallot, leeks, and just a little bit of broth if you're using the more delicate, what they call alliums. Alliums are scallions, onions, leeks. I don't know if garlic is an allium. But, so I'm done. This is nice and softened, all of them. That's how high this is. I'm going to put in water. I could have put in broth for additional flavor. I use this product I would recommend you not use. This one is the organic of the offerings. There's organic, I like organic. It's seasoned vegetable based. They have one for meats, but this one is vegetable. There's low sodium. The reason I say I don't recommend it is if you're watching salt assiduously, you have to keep it out of your diet. Even the 1,500 milligrams a day is too high for you. Then don't use anything like this. Just use a salt substitute. But I use this when I don't want to use, or I actually didn't defrost and didn't have available all of the quarts, because I need 8. I doubled the recipe and it was 6 cups of broth or water or a combination of both. By my using this bouillon, because that's what this is, better than bouillon, it's very, very flavorful, but it's also rather high in sodium. Even the low sodium, I think, is rather high, but it's quite intense and it flavors water very well to give you a flavor that is similar to what a bouillon would give you. So I'm putting in 12 cups of water. And a seasoning, and I'm going to show you what that is, and that is bay leaf. I keep this in my kitchen. I just cut them off the plant, keep them in my kitchen. And bay leaf is from a plant called Laurus nobilis. Laurus is the Laurus, is the genus, species is nobilis, meaning noble, meaning usually huge. And I am, by the way, a master gardener from way back in '97. I was a landscape designer and did that as a profession for over 15 years. So I know these things, but the point is that the Laurus nobilis is a noble tree, 40 feet, 60 feet. If you give it decades and decades and decades. I didn't want anything over a little bush, and so I keep it a little bush. I bought a 1 gallon Laurus nobilis. I put it in my garden. I keep it cut low because what I'm able to do with it is pull off these fresh bay leaves. And so she recommended 2 bay leaves, and again, I doubled it, so 2 will, no, actually, that would mean I need 4. 1 more. And I could dry these. Another thing I like to do is kind of break them, because it actually releases more of their wonderful, slightly tannic, but herbal flavor. And then the other thing I'm adding is kombu. Her recipe calls for dulse, sticks of dulse. It's a seaweed. This is a sea vegetable, kombu is. And what I do with this is I simply put it in beans when I'm cooking beans. I think this will be, well, I like it enough that I'm going to put more. What I enjoy about it is that it helps break down some of what, well, it's believed to help reduce the gassiness in beans. And it does, it's kind of a smoky flavor, so it does give a marvelous flavor. And then I'm adding split peas. And what's with the yellow ones? I didn't have two and a half pounds of green split peas. I had 2 pounds of green, and I had several pounds of yellow. And so I put that together, and then afterwards decided I'm only going with the recipe, which was 2 cups of split peas. And so I put in 4 instead of the 5 that I pulled back out of this. Now, why am I doing this out of a strainer? Because all legumes and grains, as far as I'm concerned, should be washed. They're bulk items, and they sit in bulk places like silos, and they, I believe, get dusty and things crawl on them, and they've been handled, and just wash them. Now, don't wash these and then let them sit. They become cement, and you can break them apart by washing them again. It's just easier to wash them at the last minute. And this is, see, I'm going to show you this, but you can't tell anything right now. See? You can see the dulse has gone into the broth, and that can be pulled out easily. And I'm about to cover it, change it to pressure cook. I have a 6-quart Instapot, and pressure cook is up here. They sort of move things around with their different iterations. So let me cancel the saute, bring it to pressure cook, and we're only cooking these unsoaked. They are not soaked lentils. You don't have to soak lentils. It's a good idea not to, as a matter of fact. And I'm only cooking them for the 10 minutes that she recommends. We're going to do a natural release. We'll have time to do that. And then I'll be running off to a party, and I'm just going to leave this to cool, because, well, the rest of the recipe is, once it is naturally released, the pressure is naturally released, I'm going to put in some thyme and then let that sit in the hot broth and infuse its flavor. And I'm not really cooking the thyme beyond that. And that's it. I may put it up to saute to make sure that it's hot when we put the thyme in, but that will all be on the recipe. And make sure that everything, this little gasket was sitting up a little bit, and I pushed it down, and we're ready to go. This is now going to come to pressure. It'll take quite a bit of time because there's a lot of fluid in here. It's below the maximum. And actually with beans, depending on the foaminess of the beans, you're even usually way below that. But this will be fine. I've done this before. And I'm always doing multiples of things. And that's it. That's how easy it is for me to make a pot of delicious split pea soup. A couple of other steps after it's off pressure, and that is stirring in the thyme. And if I wanted, stirring in some frozen whole peas. And I may do that to give it kind of that spring look that she talked about, even though we're in the middle of winter here. It's mid-January. And I will have plenty to bring to tomorrow's sandwich, and it was salad lunch. Now it's sandwich and soup lunch. And then I'll have plenty to put in my freezers. The pea soup freezes beautifully. And I think that's that. So if you liked this idea, look for Jill Misanow. I will have her website on with the recipe, and consider signing up for her newsletter. She has one of the best newsletters I've seen. She gives you information and links to that information that she has seen all month long in between her newsletters. Isn't that wise? And I appreciate it. I've read a lot of very interesting things from her. So if you like what you saw, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and have a great day, because I know I'm going to. Bye.